the comments that you're sharing, we're listening, but anything you want to submit in writing, it really does get looked at. This is a big deal, and of course, there's going to be a public comment period, thanks to Richard Leach. So get us, anybody who wants to, please submit anything written, whether you have time to share it all or not. We want to get it from everyone, please. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you.
Chair recognizes Anthony Strain.
I'm here, I am a veteran. I assume that my beard gives it away. And I call Texas home. I'm here to discuss the plaque. Over 150 years have passed since the Civil War ended. If we use 25 to 30 years to mark a generation, it has been over 5 generations since the battle had ended. No one alive today was alive during the Civil War years, yet the wounds of the conflict still seem fresh on the flesh. A biting sting lingers and brothers still quarrel. Why is this? Why today are we here, battle lines drawn and the gauntlet thrown? I submit to you, as we debate nation and state has not fully moved past the wounds of war, is because we have not fully grappled with its cause. We have buried history, wrapped it in our own sense of importance, and not truth, a lost cause doomed to repeat, a political correctness birthed in loss. How do we remedy this? How can we finally put to rest the sins of our past? We must learn the truth. We must teach the youth what it means to be an American, why we find ourselves time and time again on the verge of crisis, a tinderbox to be set alight. I submit to you that to heal, to finally bury the hatchet, we must teach, mend with truth. All allow those who have the knowledge to address the public at the Capitol to say what the Declaration of Clause truly meant and what lack of rights were being defended. Monuments are not about history. They are about honor, and we should not honor lies. Thank you.
Okay, and decide to take it down with no public comment period, without any input from the public. And you have Mr. Leach here, who publicly stated that he would put a sledgehammer to the plaque if it was up to him. And I will tell you how deeply offensive that is, because that's like him saying that he would take a sledgehammer and go out into the cemetery where my ancestors are buried and knock over the headstones with a sledgehammer, okay? You know, ISIS does this.
That's right.
ISIS goes around, destroys historical religious sites, and I call it cultural terrorism. This board has participated and done cultural terrorism. You removed something that you had no business removing without public input, you know, and so my question is, who in the heck do you think you are? Expect that apology, Mr. Leach, and it would be my recommendation, because I have no faith in this board to preserve anything, because you know what's going to happen next. They're going to be after those monuments on the Capitol grounds.
Yep.
And
Sir, I
you guys
appreciate
have,
your comment, but your time is up.
thank you. Return it to the UDC, issue the apology.
Monuments. And it started in San Antonio with the Travis Park Monument, and moved to Dallas to the Lee Park Monument, which we've seen both destroyed, basically, or damaged, I should say. They're removed and damaged, some to the point of ill repair. And then the cenotaph, the Alamo Cenotaph. Here now, the Reimagine the Alamo project wants to move the cenotaph. Engineers have already said, especially from our organization that we've hired, if you try to move the cenotaph, you're going to permanently damage it. These guys, you know, in the past, that tell a story from the architects for them. They didn't have technology back then. These guys did this stuff by hand. And the monuments are there for us to learn from. It's a part of our...
It's beautiful monuments, so please do not remove it. I am proud of my ancestors. I've done history. I have Confederate ancestors that fought very bravely. They fought for their family. They fought for their state. They did not fight for slavery. They fought for their families. I had one down at Sabine Pass, Galveston, Brownsville, over near Louisiana, and I have the history of all of it. It hurts me for someone to say that they were bigots, valuable citizens. Thank you.
I believe one of the earlier speakers characterized those of us who want to take these monuments down as troublemakers, which I would never have thought was an insult to the South. So the plaque obviously was false. You all realize that. We took it down a couple of weeks ago. But when you have been lying, especially for 60 years, you don't just stop lying. You have to complain about it. You have to say what the lie had been. You have to say what the truth had been that it was intended to conceal. And you
Here. My name is Martha Hartzog. I'm a longtime resident of Austin, and I'm a student of history. I previously submitted comments on my own rather lengthy memo last week, which you, I'm sure, had the opportunity to read. But today, I'm speaking for the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Dorothy Norrie, president of that organization, has asked me to represent them. Here is the essence of her letter that she wrote to you. The Texas Division, United Daughters of the Confederacy, as the parent organization of the Children of the Confederacy, are asking that the Children of the Confederacy plaque that was removed from the state capitol building be returned to the United Daughters of the Confederacy after the period of public discussion, which is just passed. That's an addition right now, because I'm very appreciative of that. HCR 104 states that the plaque was to be placed in the state capitol. Since it is no longer in the state capitol, we would like for it to be returned immediately. So, the plaque was neither offered nor accepted for ownership by the state. And you should have a formal request of this letter in your folio, and I hope you will consider this request. Thank you very much.
Members, I'm Orion Baker, a member of the Children of the Confederacy. I honor my ancestors and their bravery in battle. Since the state of Texas...
Madam Chairman, the J is for Joseph. That's in there for a reason. He was my great-great-grandfather from Indiana. I come at these issues from kind of both sides. I have a rich family history on both sides. I'm Yankee family from Indiana. We're anti-slavery politicians. The man for whom I named drafted the anti-slavery prohibition, the original Indiana state constitution. His cousin upheld it 3 times as Supreme Court justice. He served in numerous Indiana regiments.
Pensioned and buried with the battle flag over his coffin. Earnest students of the time well know the war for Southern independence was fought over a deeply complex set of issues: consolidation of federal power, states' rights, God-given right of self-determination in 1776, excessive taxation, Lincoln's illegal 75,000-man army invading the South, and last but not least, slavery, which caused northern shipping to become ultra-wealthy. The controversy we address today is purely one of politically correct, progressive insistence on theater at the expense of tens of thousands of Texans living in past whose voice is increasingly ignored. To slander our history without objectivity and ample public discourse dishonors our proud past and the sacred duty servants of the people have in representing Texas, all Texans. Indulge me as I quote original documents from the very hand of the esteemed Abraham Lincoln found in the National Archives at archives.gov. I quote Mr. Lincoln, "I can hardly believe the South and North can live in peace unless we are rid of slaves. I believe that it would be better to export them to some fertile land such as South America, Haiti, or Africa from which they came." Further, his renowned Emancipation Proclamation was merely a strategy to cause insurrection. Please listen, it did not free slaves in states occupied by the Federal Army. Considering today in America no whip of inequality can be, I would strongly suggest a delegation be sent to President Trump, earnestly urging him to dismantle the Lincoln Memorial. That is no more ludicrous than hoping against hope Southern history will go quiet at the end of the night by insisting a point of view debatable opposite reality. We have seen this cancer. Next will Capitol Confederate statues. Should we bulldoze the San Jacinto battlefield as Mexico might be offended? Remove stone by stone the Alamo. It was unpleasant to resist Santa Anna. Close the Pacific War Nimitz Museum to avoid offending the Japanese. The lunacy must stop. To make voiceless Texans who remain proud of Southern heritage while giving grease to the squeaky wheel is using the bully pulpit to marginalize. The Texas Capitol belongs to the people, not politicians. As a retired Army officer and 6th-generation Texan, I too am offended. Thank you,
sir.
It was better 3 minutes. Members of the board, thank you for allowing me to speak.
God watches.
Good morning. My name is David Thomas Roberts from Montgomery, Texas. It seems like this meeting should have happened a month ago. And I will tell you that I'm extremely offended by the board's actions. And today's not the day to debate, I don't think, the history behind the plaque. Although it's very obvious to me that the 5 members that voted for this have no idea what the history of that plaque is. And I appreciate the UDC coming up here, because I think that's where the plaque needs to go back to, because I have no trust or no faith in the Preservation's Board to be able to honor that plaque and to preserve it. So, on the history itself, that plaque has sat there through 11 governors and, by my count, 28 sessions of the legislature. Yet 5 people have determined for the entire state of Texas that you know more history than we. Really insensitive, and the board, Mr. Leach, owes all of us an apology for that, and I expect a full public apology. Now, you can go remove something without the input of Texans to do that. I looked at everybody's bios. I didn't see any PhDs in history. I don't see anything that somehow through 11 governors and 28 legislative sessions, you 5, and there's 2 that are conspicuous by their absence here because they don't want to face the music. Okay, and we all know who they are. But so I know my 2 minutes is up.